Hey, you're listening to Radio 1190. That's 1190 AM, 98.1 FM, and always streaming at radio1190.net. The time is now 5:20. This is Firing Squad by Power Trip.
Radio 1190!
My name's Jacob. I'm a fourth-year college student here at the CU Boulder. I'm a longtime music fan. We're sitting at Radio 1190 right now, 1190 AM, 98.1 FM. And the station's a really cool place. It's just a bunch of other college students who really love music, have a true passion for it, and love to share that passion with other people. So what I do here is I host a one-hour radio show on Tuesdays from 3 to 4 called the Grim Reaper's Crypt Hour. Where I play mainly heavy metal as well as hardcore, and each week I sort of explore a different subgenre of extreme music. That's kind of like the fun thing about the radio is I can kind of do whatever I want, and people out there in the world have to listen to it, which is cool. When I got to college, I knew that it would be important for me to join a club just because I've never been great at just like cold open talking to people, you know what I mean? Like without a shared interest or anything like that. You know, I really wanted to meet other people who were into music at the same level of nerdiness that I am, and this was the perfect place to do that. It was a cool way for me to not only get meet other people who are interested in music, but get involved in music as a more real thing. You know what I mean? Like in terms of organizing events that are related to music. It kind of connected me to like the Colorado DIY music scene because like a lot of those people obviously kind of gravitate towards the radio. We still do this. It's called Local Shakedown, where we have local bands come in and play radio sets, and that was such an amazing way to just see tons of bands every week and like learn more about the music that was happening around me. It's funny because I know how old it is because in our like other production room, that's like where we keep all the vinyls, and inside of each vinyl is a card where someone has written something that they like about this album or what they don't like about this album and kind of like the vibe of the album, and those are all dated. So a couple of them I found have gone like all the way back to like the late 70s and like the early 80s and stuff. A lot of them are from the 90s in there too. So I know that we do definitely have like a long history of being here at this school. I think we have like our little part of the world cut out for us. You know what I mean? I think that the radio isn't as big as some other clubs like Free Ride and stuff like that. It's just because of interest. Because you have to cut out at least an hour or hour to 3 hours a week to do radio stuff. And so a lot of kids, that kind of turns them off of it because there's some work involved. I think that level of commitment needed to be part of the radio is kind of a double-edged sword. It kind of weeds out the people who aren't so interested, you know what I mean? But at the same time, that keeps us from having a larger reach. So when you first start off, we want you to do rotation, which is just monitoring that system and then playing music when it gives you the little prompt to. So you do that for like a semester, then after that you can apply for a specialty show, which is just the 1 hour show where you can really do whatever you want. Hey, you're listening to Radio 1190. That's 1190 AM, 98.1 FM, and always streaming around the world live at radio1190.net. I'm your host, the Grim Reaper. You're listening to the Grim Reaper Crypt Hour. The time is now 3:48. You just heard Fear of Napalm by Terrorizer, a classic grind track. Before that was Death Posture by Denver's Own Caustic Wound. Before that was Bolt Swallower by Gulch. And starting off that little run of songs was Starspawn by Blood Incantation. If you aren't aware, Blood Incantation is doing an EP release show on the 26th, this Saturday, at the Gothic Theater. If there are tickets still available, I definitely recommend grabbing that. We're going to be hearing unreleased Blood Incantation. I'm very, very excited about it. It's going to be such a good time. We got a couple more for you. This is Crawling Back to God by Full of Hell. So for a while, when I had my show at a different time slot, I had like 4 regular people who would call in who liked the same music that I did, and they would call in to like ask me to play different heavy stuff that they enjoy. And usually I'd be able to make that happen for them, but a lot of times I've gotten some negative call-ins. So I've gotten a lot of call-ins of like in between death metal songs, people call and be like, hey, could you just put on some Grateful Dead or some Jefferson Airplane? I'm always like, thank you so much for calling, but that's not what we're doing here. You know what I mean? Like, if you just give it another half hour, I'm going to be out of the radio station, and then it'll go back to our normal programming. But the positive calls are definitely always better than the negative calls, for sure. But sometimes it is fun to know that I'm kind of fucking up somebody's commute with my death metal, which is like a good feeling. I would say Radio 1190 is shrinking a little bit just because of the pandemic. Like, we operate off of campus, you know what I mean? So everything is here, and it's been harder for us to find new people who are even like aware of what we do here. If we can't have people in the station, it makes it really hard for anything to get done, just because this is our central location where we train people. This is where our like booth is. This is like where we do like all of our organization stuff. So we're kind of shrinking at the moment, but we're really trying to expand back out to the student body to get more people in here, because the last thing that any of us want is for the radio station to just become some small niche club. We like really want it to be a bigger part of the community here on campus, and I definitely know that we want more people to be listening, for sure. It's kind of harder for us to facilitate stuff on campus in recent years just because of COVID guidelines. It's like, for a while they were doing a bunch of construction in the UMC, which made it virtually impossible for us to find congregation points anywhere. And I don't want to say anything negative about the school, but it sort of sometimes feels like that we're fighting to stay relevant on campus a lot of the time. What I really want to see in the radio is more people interested and more people who sort of get us. Because I get this reaction a lot when I tell people that I do college radio here, that they have no idea that we even had a radio station, or that the basement of the UMC is not just the bookstore, you know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely want us to have some more brand awareness, and I wish that it was a little easier for us to facilitate events where we could, tell people about the radio. I think that it's a great place for people who kind of feel not socially rejected, but have a hard time fitting into some other social circles. We're like, so here's CU Greek life. On the way other end of the spectrum is the CU radio station. We are kind of our own little counterculture here, and not in like a crazy rebellious kind of way, but just in the way that we are a group of nerds who have found each other in a central location. We're not going to make fun of you for the kind of music that you listen to. That's a common fear, that someone's going to come down here and be like, I listen to Imagine Dragons, and we're just going to throw rocks at you. Like, that's not the case. We want more people to be involved. That was sort of an issue in the past, is like, there was sort of a toxic culture around radio, like who were the cool kids in radio, but that is just not the case anymore. You know what I mean? Like, none of us are cool. We are all a bunch of college students who are really dorky and like enjoy to listen to weird music. So it's a great place to be. Like, I've made some really great friends from being here. I've gotten to find so many great bands from being here, and it sort of connected me back to my love of music in a big way.